Hey y'all, welcome to Geek Freaks. I am Frank, and today we're joined by Allen Dunford and Dave Lentz. How are you guys doing today?
Oh, I'm great because I get to see your face and Dave's beautiful face as well.
I mean, what else could you ask for, really?
This
a
is the part where you
solid day.
compliment me, Dave. You're supposed to compliment me now.
Yes, yours too. It's fine. It's nice. I like
Okay,
it.
thank you.
Doesn't have that compliment Allen posted next to his monitor like he's supposed to? Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. We're talking about Pocus Hocus once again, and this time we're actually starting a whole new chapter in the story. Pocus is deep into hell, and things are starting to collapse, continue to collapse for him. Can you give us a little bit of rundown, maybe even a catch up of where we're at right now with this story?
Yeah. So obviously this is kind of spoilers to catch us up to this point. But Pocus Hocus follows the story of a magician who sells his soul to a demon to have actual magical powers. Years later comes to regret it, and then it just so happens that demon comes asking for a favor. And that's what kind of catapults everything forward. And then we find out that the demon he sold his soul to doesn't even have his soul anymore. And that's what really sets forth the next arc of Pocus and crew going in deeper and deeper into another layer of hell because they actually found the person that has it. So
Yeah.
this is where the second arc of Pocus Hocus begins.
With this second arc, how do you make things feel new, fresh, and different from a first arc? Like, how are you separating those two?
Well, naturally, out the gate, it's the world is already so different. Because it's funny because yeah, we still keep light and whimsical qualities, but now there's really weight to the situation. Frank, I was able to send you the ash can of Pocus 5 or 2-1, and you kind of got to see it already has, like, we still kept a lot of our humor in there, but it's getting darker as we keep getting in there. So we're really trying to push ourselves into, yeah, we still have this whimsical world, but now there's more gravity to it because we're finally coming face to face with Pocus's decision and how it has affected everybody around him.
Yeah, one specific scene from the new book is like a mirror to the first issue of the franchise, but it's almost like a funhouse mirror because everything's a little off, everything's a little weird, but you're recognizing what's going on. And I do like one of my favorite parts right away as a reader. You're like, this ain't right. Is all of a sudden the bartender's actually in on the story. Like, oh, what's going on? Like, no, nobody would care about what Pocus is saying if this was, anything normal. When you're Dave, you're sitting there, you're lettering, you're also designing. How do you add input to this and make sure the story feels new for you?
Don't say that you brutalize our script because it's so bad. Leave
No,
that
no,
part out.
I was actually going to say that all the stuff that you just said, I didn't know any of that was actually happening. That's all new to me.
Yeah, you just
I don't
copy
read.
paste.
I just copy and paste. That's all I really do. That's my job. Um, I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with, like, when we have new creatures, new characters that show up, trying to develop their own particular voice, and just trying to have that fit in with everything that we've done before. Then sometimes we can do like outlandish stuff and it really works, and other times it's just like low-key stuff where Focus is going on a ramble at the bar and just talking to the bartender, and then stuff happens.
What kind of design changes do you use when you're trying to go from a normal bar scene and then all of a sudden you're starting to escalate it really quick? I know because I just read it, but what is it that you're using to, like, oh wait, something's not right here, or oh, things are about to kick into second gear? Is there any sort of hints that you want to place in the panels or something like that?
It all depends, really. I mean, like, I try to take cues from Brian's art whenever I can, and
Mhm.
just like it could be just like a minor twitch that a character shows, just like has like a little twerk, or something like going on with their hands or their face or something like that, and then you can start to skew things and, like, warp the balloons and change the font, like gradually change to something else. It might be like a font change, it might be a color change, it could be any one of those things to just really indicate things are going south or just changing in general.
And it's something that Dave did that I loved, aside from everything that he does, is whenever we see this new creature that we introduce right where the ash can ends,
Mhm.
Dave threw blood splatter inside of the text box just to kind of show, like, okay, this is things are about to go down, and this
Yeah.
thing definitely has ill intent.
Oh, I did do that. That's right.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So something else you got to remember about Dave. Dave's memory is awful.
It's
So,
terrible.
it is
It's
terrible.
terrible.
What's this
Like
book
I'm
called
like,
again?
Yeah.
yeah. How did I even get here?
Who are you guys? Yeah, I'll message Dave and he's like, new number, who this? Like, I get
Yeah.
that a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, the Pocus franchise has such unique lettering in it. Like for this one, you had the blood spider, but we also have pink bubbles, and so we're like, okay, we know who that's probably coming from. We have black bubbles we've seen time and time again. We know who those are coming from, and it's something you don't see in maybe something a little more mainstream like a Superman comic book. You wouldn't expect to see anything different than just the normal bubbles or whatever. I think that's very creative and something that you can only see in an indie comic, something where you're actually taking chances. And
It was
the
really
fans are
cool though,
obviously on board.
because from a writer standpoint, when Will and I are working on the script and everything, I've said it time and time again, but Brian, Jason, and Dave, they inspire us every day. It makes us want to push ourselves as much as we want to try to push them for what we can see, for what we can try to get away with and have them draw, or just color and then letter. But when we were writing that part that you were talking about, it was awesome because I remember telling Will, I was like, because all their lettering is so different, we don't need to flash to another spot. We can literally just impose their speech bubbles, and if people have read it before, they'll know exactly who it's coming from. So we don't need to say, "Oh, that must have been Horace,"
Right.
So Pocus doesn't even need to acknowledge that because the reader already knows how distinct everyone's letters are.
Okay. Yeah. How much do like
Do I
say
pay him? Is that your
well,
next
no,
question?
no. How much of a team? It feels like there's Will and Allen team. Of course, there's a team of everybody.
Yeah.
But there's also this Brian, Jason, Dave team. Do you guys often kind of communicate amongst the three of you to figure out, hey, this is what we really want to see for the art side of things to try to share their story? Or are you guys just like, we'll figure it out?
Yeah, Dave, I think we just got to figure it out, right? Like,
Well, yeah. I mean, like mostly it's just, I rarely talk to Jason unless, I need something from him. Like, I like, dude, I need the layered file, or this needs to be in a different format or something like that. Uh, Brian, I think I've talked to maybe like 5 times, and it's
and that
usually
was
about
just to
like,
tell him it's a good job.
yeah, it's like that, or like Ninja Turtles or Uzumaki. Like those are the things that we talk about. And then Alan I talk to all the time, ad nauseum, and we just that's okay.
Yeah.
And usually we just suss things out, or like I just bounce an idea off him, like, well, I just threw this word in here or threw some extra words in here because I thought it'd be funny. He's like, well, yeah, that's good. That
Yeah.
works out.
Yeah, I think that's Dave, what you said was actually what I was getting ready to say, but at this point it's crazy how much of a well-oiled machine I feel like everything is,
Right.
because Brian used to send us roughs before he would start. He was like, yeah, I'll go ahead and do the Lord, what's it called, just the preview pages.
Thumbnails.
Yeah, so he would kind of just do that, and he was like, yeah, I'll get the roughs together, so then if you guys approve it, then I'll go ahead and actually start. Now we just get finalized inks because we all know, I guess, kind of what each other are expecting at this point. And the same goes with Jason and Dave. But yeah, I think the big thing that Dave has taught me, and it's something that I already went in with an open mind from where Dave is so seasoned, is accept the criticism and know that everyone in this project is working toward the same goal of trying to make the best book that we can. Because there's been times where, I'll send the script to Dave first. He'll look it over, make sure everything looks good, because, we're again, still figuring everything out as we go. Dave will be like, yeah, this looks great. And then we'll get it to Brian. Then Jason will send it to us. And then once Dave's in it, we look at it, we're like, actually, that doesn't translate well. So then Dave will actually take stuff out and be like, I suggest you guys change this, or this part actually isn't as funny as we thought it was. So then we'll take it out, and then Dave will replace him. Like, what do you guys think? It's like, yeah, we've never had a clash of egos on any of that stuff. So I think that collaborating with every layer and every level of the creative process is good, because there's been stuff where Brian's combined panels and it just looks so much better and the flow goes better. And then there's been color choices that I've disagreed on with Jason and just let him do his thing. And it's worked out so much better. And I'm just happy for the result.
Yeah, just from as an outside observer, somebody who reads the comics books, like if we're looking at the last issue, we had Jason make the move of changing the candlelight to green,
Yep.
which was such a unique idea. But then you're like, he had to have bounce that idea amongst everybody on the art side of this thing to make sure that the bubbles work for this, to make sure that that makes sense, and
Yep.
to think that you guys are all kind of just working together. It's just pretty neat because it was such a cool move, and then you'd assume that it would have to be
Yeah,
approved
it's the
by a
little
lot of
stuff,
people.
right? Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
little stuff. Jason just did it, and I was like, "Why did you do that?" I'm not trying to be a jerk. I was like, "Why did you make the candle green?" He's like, "Yeah, it's the sap from the tree." I was like, "Oh, that's genius. I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate how smart that is."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so we're having a brand new beginning. How many issues are we expecting out of this run? Are we doing another 4?
Yeah, we have another 4 slated. We already have our ending set up. Now it's just a
Okay.
matter of time of it's the we're anxiously waiting, because we know how this thing's going to end, and well, this arc, I should say, is going to end, and we think that everyone's going to be pretty surprised at the twist that we have set up for this thing.
Yeah. How hard is it to kind of contain things within 4 books? Because to me, you're already in hell. You have like this grand story obviously going on with him looking for his soul. Do you tend to lead into the next chapter so early on, or are you good at keeping everything contained in 4 books?
Yeah, yes and no, right? Because we're always forward thinking, and we always want to leave the audience wanting more and placing like little Easter eggs or little bread like a breadcrumb trail of stuff that they've said, because we've actually kind of already mentioned in this. You'll see it as we progress through, but we kind of hint at the ending for this arc in issue 5. So it's just, I don't know, it's kind of fun, and it's just really cool to see this thing come to life. Because I remember, whenever I was first talking about this with Dave, we didn't expect to make it this far. We only expected like 4 issues, and we're going to be done because, like I said, it's a hobby, and we're just trying to have fun and kill. Yeah, I would say kill time, but just really explore some different creative outlets. And then it's turned into this, and I'm happy it did, because it was hard to try to contain the story that we originally had into this. So now we're able to like just have fun, let it breathe, and like kind of create our own lore and world piece by piece, instead of just doing
Yeah.
like a whole information dump. From where we're able to keep stretching this thing out, we're able to really play on our rules and our laws.
Speaking of spinoffs, we know we have Horse in Hell. That was a small spinoff. Do you have any more kind of planned coming up?
Yeah, so it's not a small spinoff anymore. Kit Wallace is actually working on the first issue, the full issue of Horse in Hell. So it's going to be a 2-issue mini right now. And we thought of different scenarios we could put Horace in and everything. So we're going to see how this one does, see what everyone thinks about it. But the script for it, we're really happy with it, and our stupidity knows no bounds.
Yeah.
Yep.
When you're scripting out a comic book, do you do it more storyboard form, or are you actually like scripting it out by the like the words? You know what I'm saying?
We storyboard first. But
Okay.
first and foremost, we always storyboard. We write out our beginning, middle, and end, where we're going, where we think each issue will go, and then that's when we actually start hammering out the script that way.
Oh wow. Yeah. It feels
No,
so
no,
odd.
Frank wants to know if you draw. That's what he's asking. He
Oh.
wants to know
Oh,
if you
let's
make
see.
stick
Oh,
figures,
no,
storyboards,
no,
stick figures. That's what he
no.
wants to see.
Yeah, we don't do that. We don't do that here.
That's a big unlock on Kickstarter, guys.
Yeah.
The Allen edition, where it's just like stick figures.
Oh man,
That'd be wonderful.
the character just says poop right beside the
Yeah,
head.
poops. Yeah, pink. This is supposed to be Pink Bunny.
Yeah, Pink Bunny.
I promise. Okay, so we also have. I want to touch on some of the other projects we talked about in the past and stuff like that. We have Grandma Chainsaw. You guys finished that first run. Is very successful on Kickstarter, of course. We have another one coming down the pipe, correct?
Yeah, so what we're kind of doing is we're trying to stagger releases with how we do everything. So, we got this Pocus 2-1, and then Grandma Chainsaw 2 is coming up. And then we're also working on another story, kind of in the background, and just trying to do a little piece by piece. It's a detective story called One Sunday Afternoon. Don't want to reveal too much on that yet, but Dave's excited for that one, I think, too, especially after seeing that first page we got from that thing.
Did I work on that?
You lettered it, yeah. You
Okay.
did.
Okay.
Okay,
Cool.
Dave.
That
Dave
memories.
past Dave really liked it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That guy.
Yeah.
Dave letters a lot of stuff.
Dave does
Okay.
letters. Dave letters hard.
Yeah.
And then we're just excited still, as much as we're excited to get the Pocus story out there, we're also so excited to get the 4 issues of Grandma Chainsaw out there as well, because we had a lot of fun making this one. And shout out to Dave for Fury Cham. because it was really his idea. We only had it in the script just a couple times, the Doth Lady protest stuff. Dave really took the reins and just ran with it on that one. So big shout out to Dave for giving Fury Chan that much more personality.
Yes, I successfully made him awful.
Yeah, it wasn't hard, I don't think, but
No.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. It was such a, oh god, so many twists, and like immediately ends where you're like, well, I gotta know what happens to this mess. So I can't wait to see what happens next with Grandma Chainsaw. And then I want to make sure we also mention we have the Sparks Indie Awards, and you guys got nominated for that. How freaking cool is that?
Yeah, Kickstarter of 2022. I guess there just wasn't a lot of options last year, so they were really scraping the bottom of the barrel and threw us in there.
I think you guys are owning Kickstarter at this point. You guys have multiple campaigns a year, all successful. I know a couple other indie creators that would wish to be in your guys' shoes. So I think that's pretty amazing. So we're going to have a link over to, guys, you guys could all vote for the Sparks Indie Awards. It'll be the very top link. So you guys head there, get your votes in. That'll be great. Before we head out, Dave, I want to make sure to share a little bit more of who you are. Where did you get your start into lettering and stuff like that? It's such a unique profession. A lot of people who maybe aren't familiar with comic books don't even know it's its own thing.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, like, realistically, I started with graphic design. I've been a graphic designer since I graduated in 2005. And it's only within the past, like, since 2019 that I've started actually lettering, because a real good buddy of mine was just like, dude, why don't you come back into comics? Because even before that, I did like a web comic that I actually drew and lettered for a while, for like 3 years. But he's like, you have your degree in graphic design, you're really good at graphic design. He said that, not me. And and he was just like, well, why don't you try lettering? Because and it was something I really never thought of. And I was like, well, why don't I try lettering? And then it just pretty much just took off from there, because it was like sort of like an unfair advantage kind of thing, because I already knew all the ins and outs of the programs, and lifelong comic fan. So it's just literally like, okay, well, looking at this page, this is what they did here. I could do that. That's easy enough, kind of a thing. And then just steamrolled from there. And then I met this poor schlub, and now he's been stuck with me ever since.
Match made in heaven. So
That's right.
He received basically the project already drawn out, and then you decide based off the script where to put the bubbles and stuff like that. To me, I mean, I think everybody's who's a noob to this is like, how do you do the pacing or the spacing of things? Because whenever you like try to draw like a yard sale sign, you always end up with LE like crammed in the corner. How do you do that as a letterer?
It is, the most important thing is try to keep the flow consistent within the page, because any artist who is skilled and knows what they're doing, they already have the flow of the page planned out, where panel leads to panel needs to panel. And then my job is basically not to disrupt that, and hopefully help lead the reader's eye into the next panel where the artist had already planned on sending the reader anyway. And most of the time I can make it work. Sometimes when somebody's too wordy, it's we need to go back and revise things, or you're just forced to jam stuff in there where it doesn't belong, and then pray for the best.
When you look back at inspirational comic book writers, there are some of them that have, basically written novels and it's just above little pictures and stuff like that, and others that are very minimal. Where do you think you lie with that? Are you closer to like a Watchmen where it's all words, or where do you think you try to strive to be?
Somewhere in the middle. I mean, generally speaking, on Pocus specifically, there's never been a part where I've gone through and it's just like, man, we got to revise this because there's not enough space. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying
I don't know how to write that.
Yeah.
I don't know how to write that. Like, so, yeah, I just say what I need to say and I get out of there.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's really the best way to do it, because I mean, the art in all of like our collective books, it doesn't need a lot. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need a lot of flowery exposition. You just, you're already telling the story, and then just, like Allen said, just get in and get out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we have a rising, I wouldn't say problem, but maybe a concern with AI generated art. And I know maybe this is something for Brian to tackle maybe a little bit more, but where do you guys see using AI as this new concern, possibly using it as a tool instead of a threat in your guys' work? Is that something you see coming up?
God, I don't even know. I feel like an AI could probably write better than what me and Will do.
I know it does better than me on a lot of
Yeah,
our stuff nowadays.
God. Yeah, I don't know. Like, so as of right now, I would, die on the hill of, never touch it, never use it, because like it just seems so hot button and so problematic right now.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Because the stigma right now with it is you use it to replace artists. Like people are using it to
Mhm.
create like thumbnails and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. There's just always that human touch that's gone in editing and everything. And whenever I was first getting started, um, it was funny just to go through the processing and see how much stuff was actually needed. Like I had no idea that I was going to need a team of ultimately 3 other individuals, not counting Will, but 3 other individuals to do stuff. Like I didn't know that not every artist colors their pages. So then,
Yeah.
we find Brian and it's like, oh, he just does pens and ink. Well, crap, we got to find a colorist. And then I didn't, you don't really think about then the lettering part of it because, like I said, it was our first book. I was like, crap, I got to find some of the letters this thing down too. And then it's like, oh, well, you need a logo. It's like, oh my God, I just
Yeah.
got lucky with Dave because he does lettering and design.
Mhm.
So and also edits. So that was huge as well too. So I really did luck out by having Dave say yes.
You could feel the difference too, not to
Mhm.
bash on any other comic book creators and stuff like that, but you could feel the difference from a team working on something versus one person who's doing it all on their own. And there's the polish that Pocus has that others might not have. Yeah, the AI thing is something we're seeing because, of course, we've had a lot of artists and writers on our show, and we follow each other on social media, and it seems to be this new kind of battleground that started in 2022, and I think it's going to be carrying through 2023 of never use. And meanwhile, some of the small time people can find some benefit in it. So,
Mhm.
just poking around in there, seeing what people are thinking about
Yeah, and
that,
that's
I
the
think
thing.
is very
Like,
interesting.
I don't really have an opinion on it just yet because
Yeah,
I think I've just stayed so far away from it because it's like you see it and you're like, well, I mean, it doesn't really affect us right now because I'm always going to be using these guys.
right.
So, I think that's where like, I guess I'm kind of ignorant to it for the most part. I'm ignorant anyway.
I personally feel safe because it just, it's not going to pop out words. I saw what it
Yeah.
does, and it's just like it makes it look like weird hieroglyphics, and I'm just like, I'm
Mhm.
safe, I'm
You're like,
fine.
oh, thank God.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
like yeah, I can pay
Yeah.
my mortgage. Okay.
Yeah.
The chat version of it's pretty crazy. We talked about it on Geek Freaks, the normal show, but I had it like, hey, can you make a description for Geek Freaks podcast? And it did a way better job than I've ever done. It's like, oh no, that's dangerous. So yeah, seeing it as a tool and being careful with it, it's a little
Mhm.
scary, but yeah, those hieroglyphics are never going to work out well
Yeah.
for anybody. All right, for those people who need to get on board with Pocus Hocus, where can they go? And I want them to like read the first 4 issues. Like, where can they pick up those first 4 issues?
Hang on one second, Frank.
Oh, here we go.
I have this cup here, and it is just so good and so sturdy, just like the promise that we deliver with our Pocus Hocus comic books, and that is the Geek Freaks podcast mug.
That's a good mug.
I know it's a good mug, good ass mug.
I got to send you. We have a 2023 version that's even better. I'm gonna send it
Okay,
to you for free. It's on its way.
thank
So,
you.
yeah.
So
I fully expected the website for where they could buy the books to be on the mug. I was totally taken
how
aback when it
funny!
wasn't.
Oh my God, how
Not
funny
a
would
bad
that have been?
idea. That's a QR code right there.
So
Right there.
funny.
Bam.
So we obviously have some news for the future. But coming up in 2023, can't get into too many specifics, but
Mhm.
you'll be able to find Pocus Hocus on comic book shelves.
Yeah.
So we are very excited and grateful for that opportunity to definitely have a wider reach for those who don't know us on Kickstarter or who are probably just they don't want to use Kickstarter because maybe
Mhm.
they've had a bad experience or they just don't like using that kind of thing, right? So that we're all of us over in the crew are so excited to see where this thing's going to be going, and just to even just see our names in the previews magazine too.
Yeah.
Dave's used to it; he's just numb to it. We're all over here
Yeah,
celebrating, and Dave's like, "Yeah, whatever." Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I
Yeah.
remember my first time.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but for those who are new to the series and really want to jump in, we always try to cater our Kickstarters to fans new and old. So there's always going to be a catch-up tier, whether that's physical or digital. And we have different ways to do that, whether you want to get the trade or you want to get the floppies of the first 4 issues, that option is going to be on there for you.
Okay.
And we always build our Kickstarters a la carte. So we never strong arm anyone into getting a tier that they don't want to get because there's a certain item or something like that they want. So we always try to just have fun with it and just make it to where, like I said, fans new and old can get in there.
That is nice, yeah. And then because I feel like it's important, people go pick up those first 4 comics. It's complete arc, which is one of the biggest, problems with comic books. Sometimes you're like, yeah, but where am I at? If you get the first 4, it's complete arc right there. It ends really crazy.
It's a quick read too. We promise.
really
We don't write a
quick.
lot.
I've actually reread it twice now, and you guys should have seen it at
Yeah.
our Christmas party because we had a bunch of copies of the comics and we had the shirts. I was like Santa Claus, just handing out stuff on Christmas
Yeah,
party.
here you
It was
go.
like, boom, boom, boom. It's a Pocus Hocus, read some Grandma Chainsaw. Okay, so yeah, and then probably Source Point, right? They can probably head to Source Point to be able to pick up the first 4 as well if they wanted to, right?
Yeah, I think after Dave, you'd know probably a little bit more about this because I think you've dealt with a little bit more, but I would assume that once we're in comic book shops, you'll be able to hit Source Point's website and then be able to order it that way and everything because
Yep.
we're going to have Source Point was pretty adamant about this, which I totally agree with. Pocus Hocus, whenever it hits comic shelves, we're going to have 4 new covers by Brian and Jason. So issue 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all going to have a new cover. So the ones you pick up on Kickstarter, or we can actually say this now, are Kickstarter exclusive.
Cool. Oh man.
Yep.
Collector's items.
Ooh, yeah, sure.
The covers never disappoint, by the way. Alan's always texting me new covers. They never disappoint. They're always so good. So that is
We
freaking
got
awesome.
7 this time. We got 7 because we're stupid. I'm stupid.
Well, like I told you, like I totally have no envy over you because that's a lot of managing of like different artists doing different things. No way.
Well,
have fun with that.
we got really lucky with the artists that we do because they're all so self-sustaining. I just reach out, ask for a cover, and then they say, yeah, sure. And then they just send it back. Dave was able to put, we obviously will have our Kit Wallace cover. Mark Marvita's back. We have an Edward Bentley cover. Dave actually put us in contact with Ryan Kincaid. He worked on a cover for Grandma Chainsaw, and we even got a chance to work with Sajad, who did a cover for the Department of Truth. So
Nice.
he's doing a cover for us on that, and we already have his finished cover for Grandma Chainsaw too.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yep.
It's funny that you say that there are 7 because it definitely feels like gluttony that we have 7 covers.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, the 7 deadly Pocus covers.
Yeah, there it is.
I also want to mention Summer Dale too. She was the first time doing a cover for us, and she just knocked it out of the park, man. So we're kind of celebrating the new arc. So that's why we also wanted to have a little bit extra covers too.
Yeah,
just a way to say thank you for everyone for this. It feels like a long journey, but it's only gone on for like a year and a half, maybe a little over a year. But yeah, it's just we're just having fun with it, and we hope everyone loves it.
Yeah.
Tell people the truth, Alan. You forgot that we got that many covers.
Only one of them I forgot that I prepaid
Okay.
for. But then I wasn't mad at it. After I panicked, I was like, whatever. We'll just throw it in there.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Instead of saving it for the next one, I was just like,
Yeah.
They were all worth collecting, guys. Please make sure I think I have pretty much all of them at this point, and they're so freaking cool. I think that's it for us this time, guys. Everything's in the description. Remember to go vote for the Sparks Indie Awards and to jump in on this Kickstarter. Of course, we're going to be sharing on social media, so check that out as well. And thank you guys very much for joining me, both Dave and Alan. Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much, Frank.
Thank you.
All right, we will see you guys next week. Have a good one. Bye.